Namaskar. Welcome to this Saturday evening English edition of PGurus. What we are going to talk about, friends, today is Trump cracks the whip. There's a major shake-up in Pentagon, which includes the military personnel and which includes also the civilians which are working for Pentagon. What is this crackdown and what is this churning all about? What are the reasons for it? Why it is done now? Why Democrats are crying? Why China is unhappy with it? And why do they call it the Friday Night Massacre? What is this Friday Night Massacre all about? We're going to talk about it and the implications and what we have been already indicating to you. We'll also join the dots here. So you have to stay with us. After that, we are going to the second subject is that is a $500 billion deal which is on the table for United States of America. And there's a lot of resentment in the Europe. And because of the European resentment, Zelensky is trying to encash it. And because of the Zelensky's trying to encash it, it makes Trump unhappy. And in the meanwhile, Trump and Putin have spoken. And Putin has spilled some beans. Putin is talking about some very sensational claims and some very sensational things which are going to shape up the geopolitics of our times. And after that, there's a tango between Trump and Putin. What are they up to? What are the bigger things which have been discussed? And what are they indicating? And what are the messages? They are both sending messages to the European Union. What are the messages? What are the commonalities? Where are the crossover points? We're going to talk about that. And after that, we talk about that, though Hamas has freed the Israeli soldiers, but after the massacre of the babies, which was unfortunate, Trump has said, I am okay if Israel wants to go with war. So the truce is almost done and there's a lot of connotations to it and many more things to come up. You have to give us just 10 seconds. We'll be back.
Namaskar. A lot of things happening. In fact, yesterday I put out a shorts about the fact that finally, Zelensky caved in, and people said it wasn't like caving in. Yes, it was. You have been at the mercy of United States for 2.5, 3 years. They gave you all the things, and then suddenly you stand up and say, no, I'm not taking this, and then you try to create a European army. Come on now, what are you smoking, Zelensky? It's not possible. I mean, this is the thing where you are creating a reality distortion field. So that's what happened, and now he's back down to the ground, and then things will happen now. So this is the most important topic that we're going to be talking about. Lots of sub stories coming out of this one. Sumiji, go ahead and tell our viewers what you have found, and I'll add a few things in case you missed out. I usually don't. You usually don't.
Sir, thank you very much for the kind words. And you had rightly mentioned one thing. What are you smoking on? That's the $1 billion thing, which even I don't know. Maybe we jointly can find it out. In the name of Bhagwan Sree Ganesha, let's do the Sree Ganesha of today's vlog of the podcast. Look, friends, we are going to start with the revamp in the Pentagon. Friday night, that's today morning India time, there's a major revamp. The what do you call as the chairman of the Pentagon or the general the chief of staff, it's a gentleman called Mr. Brown or the General Brown. He has been abruptly asked to leave by Pete Hegseth, the new Secretary of Defense of the United States of America. Earlier it was Lloyd Austin. Now Pete Hegseth has taken over. There was a lot of controversy around his appointment, but he is the Secretary of State. He has asked him to go. With it, there are 5 senior officers which are like Air Force head, which are like naval head. They are supposed to go, and out of them, there's also one of the lady officers who was risen to the top ranks within the Pentagon. They have been asked to go. Now, and there's another dimension to it, which we are going to talk in a while. Now, when this happened, the Democrats are calling it a Friday Night Massacre. They are saying that you are risking the security of United States of America and you are dividing the American military on political lines. And this is a grave national security threat. Now, why is Trump doing this and why is Hegseth doing it on the behest of Trump? That is something which we have to talk about in this broadcast. Look, if you recall, one of our episodes wherein it was around 3 months back in Endgame China, I had told you that there's a lot of attempt which was made that when the China sent a lot of people into America, and even some of the hostile countries sent a lot of people into America, they were assigned a task. They had enough money with them. They were well dressed. They didn't look like immigrants. They were supposed to infiltrate the lower ranks of police, military, and the ancillary which supports police, military, American Army, American Navy. There are a lot of support bodies of them. You were supposed to infiltrate them, and that is how you were supposed to be used at the right time and break this working engine. So what is happening here? The what Mr. Pete Hegseth has to say, he says that the American military was divided on the lines of it's our unity in diversity was supposed to be our strength, but with this diversity initiative coming in, wherein $180 million were allocated for diversity. I have seen some of the American generals, they were wearing those skirts and trying to put this, what do you call, I don't know what you call kajal in the English, that eyeshadow in their eyes,
eyeliners
in their eyes, and trying to act as something in between male and female. There is $3.2 billion which was allocated for the American DOD for changing their basis as per global climate warming. So there are a lot of skeletons which are coming up, a lot of money. You might look to you that is $800 billion of American budget, defense budget, but a lot of money when you go deep into it gets allocated here, gets allocated right, left, and center. Why does military need $180 million for D&I? And the lady officer which got fired, Trump says, and Hegseth says that she's just appointed there because she was a female. She didn't deserve to be there. She's just appointed there as a female. So in the name of DIA and gender equality and gender justice or whatever, a lot of decisions were taken which were not in the interest of America. And the biggest revelation what I'm going to make you right now is that Pete Hegseth says these changes are for the Trump's vision of making America great again. Because it is believed a lot of Chinese influence had infiltrated American military. For some time, PLA began to think that Americans will not fight. And if there's a source which I can not quote, and it's a very credible source, he told me that when there were tensions high between America and China, somebody from America will reach his counterpart in China and tell him, don't worry, we're not going to do anything. Just carry on. I mean, this is the allegations. These are the kind of revelations which have come up, and these are the kind of allegations which are there in the air. So now, usually, you don't sack such higher people. You don't churn them bottom up. It's not only diversity. It's not this, because what Trump cannot tell you is that how Chinese influence had perpetrated into American DOD, and that is what is happening here. Now, there was another thing which is very touching is that America has to sharpen its sword. America doesn't need to fight wars, but has to be ready to fight war. So in a way, Pete Hegseth is kind of indicating that we might look big and mighty, but does big and mighty mean you're agile? Does big and mighty mean you can fight a war? Because with the scenario changing, and what was done, Russia was protected as the enemy, and the real enemy, China, was just let go. So with those things happening in the world, you are really attuned. You have to get attuned to fight the enemy, which is the real enemy. So in this revamp, these people were seen as obstacles, which has been very carefully and very, we used all the manicured words not to talk and mean the same thing. They have been removed. And a new 3-star general, which has been named to replace General Brown, will be taken in the US DOD or the Pentagon. Now, this gentleman was a retired general, but it is for the second time in the American history a retired general has been picked over the serving generals to run this thing, because the quantum of threat and the threat which is there is entirely different. So there is a big revamp which is seen. Now, once this new team, this new chief of the staff is in place, below him there'll be a lot of changes. So we can expect a lot of churning in Pentagon, because you're shaken the top. You're taking the top 5 people away. So when your new top 5 people, they will start doing the rest of the thing. Another aspect of it is that already 5,400 people have been kind of laid off in Pentagon. 5,400 people. Now in Pentagon, it is believed to be there are around, Pentagon controls around 1.2, 1.3 million, which are the people in uniform. And there have been 900,000 civilians which have been a part of the Pentagon because of doing some research, analysis, and other related works. It is believed that around 10% of that staff, not the serving staff, but the 10% of the civilian staff, that's out of 900,000, I'm talking around 90,000 people. maybe 80,000-90,000 people will be churned off. The reason is that is where all the infiltration has happened. A lot of infiltration into Pentagon by Pakistanis, a lot of integration into Pentagon by Iranis, and don't forget the company which Sree sir always talks about, where the ex-CIA director, where 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 and Anthony Blinken came from. The company was run by an Iranian American and a Pakistani American.
Macro advisory partners.
Yeah. If that can happen at that level, forget what has happened at lower levels. So there's a lot of churn which has happened at the lower levels, and this churn, it is not a uniform cut. They will pick up. So the point here is that it's not I'm cutting everybody by 10%. No, there might be one place which will be entirely cut. There might be one place which will not be left. There might be one thing which might be taken out by 70%. So it's like you do a scan of the body and you find wherever the tumors are, and based on your intel and based on the tumors, you start cutting them off. Now, if you look at 𝗠𝗬𝗏𝗏 𝗏 taking over the intelligence apparatus and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏 taking out the FBI, this is a big message. And one of the things what Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has said is that he's going to go after the enemies of Trump and enemies of America. And don't forget, Trump has already signed the executive order wherein he has told if there's an assassination attempt by Iran on him and if he gets killed or whatever, J.D. Vance is supposed to dismantle Iran from the planet Earth. Iran has to be wiped off. When those kind of security threats happen, with kind of infiltration which has happened in the ranks and files, because it may not be easy to directly infiltrate Pentagon, but through these 900,000 people who are working there with them, who have their security clearances. And let's not forget, when Trump came to office, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 and Anthony Blinken's security clearance and Joe Biden's security clearance was immediately revoked. There has to be a very, very solid reason for the Trump to do that. And let's take it forward. So these 900,000 people are there, which we were talking about. They have to cut them by around this percent, 5,000, 4,000, 5,400 are already gone. And there is also a talk, because when he's asked, Peter Hegg said, why are you doing it? He says, look, we want to really make it agile and all these things. We want to save $50 billion. Now, this $50 billion will not be a saving which will go into the pocket of the government. This $50 billion will be used to make a missile shield. We are making a missile shield like Iron Dome. So we are trying to find that. One of the school of the thought is also that America might try to reduce all its non-functional bases. There are a lot of bases in the world which are non-functional today and non-strategic today. You might reduce that. And there's another talk of that some of the programs which are not delivering results, these weapon development programs, they might be cut. Some old weapon platforms might be cut, which are very high on maintenance. The point here is that Americans are not trying to save money. The money is repurposed for something else. The $800 billion will be $800 billion, but if you cut $80 billion from them, from using it on paying salaries and those allowances on, you might use that money to develop new weapons and weapon systems. So Americans are not cutting the budget, but the money is repurposed for a different objective and purpose. That is the thing here. I'll talk you about one thing very different, which you must have not heard. Now, usually what happens, sir, whenever there's an American base, the Pentagon or the DOD runs schools. Schools are basically to teach the kids of the people who are serving at that base and all that. Like what we have typically 𝗓𝗍𝗏 𝗓𝗏 here, something like that. It is believed that these schools have teachers. Now, teachers are hired from the, they're not from the force, they're hired from the civilian population. Now, even it is believed that these teachers have been infiltrated. Now, I might act as a teacher. I can any day go and teach some fifth class kid mathematics, or you can any day teach some 10th class.
It's a systematic thing. It's a systematic thing. And that's what we've been talking about for a few years now. Systematically, they have picked out all the places where there are flaws, fault lines, and they have exploited them. And this they means Chinese, Iranians, you can say Pakistanis, you can say many others. Qataris are always there to fund all kinds of these efforts. Which is why I'm always looking at them with danger. I mean, these guys are, be careful, right? So I completely agree with you. Yes, 𝗏𝗏𝗏. This has all happened. Back to you. Just I need you to stop after you finish this topic, and I need one update for the viewers. Back to you.
Sure. And the problem is, Sree sir, why did I bring up this? These schools are in everywhere where you have an American base or American military is deployed. So by the virtue of these, you are actively have got spies into every American base as a teacher or as some support staff. So this is like a cancer which has spread far and wide. Now you have put another flavor into a D&I. Then you are trying to do gender justice. You are trying to do a lot of things. So you are opening those. If there's a loophole this bigger, you are trying to pull the ends and make it this bigger. You're trying to cut one more loophole into the system. So in a way, if you read and if you see Peter Hegseth's 9-minute interview, he's clearly saying that there are loopholes and they have been exploited by the enemies of America, and we are going to churn them. So look here, what is Trump doing? On the one side, he's doing these reforms, churning the Pentagon. On the other side, cutting off some unuseful bases in defense systems and all systems. And now you have a 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏 who is saying that I will protect America. I will have to go after American enemies and the enemies of the president. And you have a 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏 who is supposed to overlook all the intelligence apparatus of America. So this is a three-way step, which is they are almost happening at the same time, because the infiltration has happened to an unproportional level. And let's not forget, 90% of the people of Chinese origin, 90% of the people of the Chinese origin, Chinese Americans who have been caught so far, if they've caught around 100, 90% of them are Chinese Americans who have been involved in all kinds of espionage and anti-American activities. A lot of them are able to run to China, where you can never get a hold of them. So there are practical problems in American defense. It is believed, sir, that there was a time, one of the sources, I'm repeating again, told me, very highly reliable source, and I can't talk more. He said that, if America wanted to do something against China, this is an American general who will call his counterpart, or Russian general counterpart will call him, what are you up to? He said, don't worry, we're not going to do anything. You can carry on. So this whole system, which has rotten, which had become fat, it had become fat. All the money which was put in was going for paying salaries and wages and those analysts and those super analysts and this all kinds of things. So the money which was supposed to use to defend America was flushed into all the activities to make this what you call as organizational bureaucracy so heavy, organization so fat and so lethargic that even a normal process cannot go through the organization. This is what has to be churned. And the operation is not, it's not a salary cut, it is not a reduction of budget. Then it will be 10% across the board. No, it is not like that. Some departments might go in by 100%, some might be by 5%, some might not be touched, some might be 10, 20, 70 or 80. Depends on where all the tumor has spread. Over to you, Sree sir.
Thank you so much. I think the underlying theme of the Biden administration appears to have been that, look, we have to have DEI representation across the board, ESG representation across the board. If anybody is there, just create these jobs and just hire the hell out of everyone. This is how the job numbers looked so rosy, because the government was hiring and all those things are now being looked at and everybody is jumping up and down because these were not qualified for many of these jobs. And you're also seeing one horror story, Sumit. There was a plane that flew from Montreal, I think, to Minneapolis, and on landing the thing flipped.
Ulta ho gaya.
And luckily nobody died, but everybody was like bats hanging upside down. Now what they are finding out was that it was an all-female crew, and the pilot was merely 26 years old with I don't remember how many hours of flying experience. Nothing wrong being a woman, nothing wrong. The problem appears to be that somewhere something was miscalculated grossly. They need to look at it from that point of view. Did the collective crew have the experience to deal with something like that? How
Correct.
can you flip? I mean, thank God, the plane's gone. Plane's multi-million, whatever the cost of the plane, that plane is probably gone, but at least the lives were saved. This is a very dangerous sign. Minneapolis gets very cold. It can have sleet and snow. So it's a tricky landing. I don't doubt that. I don't deny that. But in US, they have things called as instrument landing system, where the instrument actually, the plane itself basically lands itself. Let me put it that way.
Correct.
So something really, really went wrong. Somebody panicked or something like that. Anyway, that's something for people to look at. One thing I noticed today, many of you have been telling me that you're also not getting notification. I had told yesterday that if you go to if you go and look at your notification, you'll be subscribed and look at the bell. The bell should be completely black like this. For that, what you need to do is you have to click on the bell and say all. Once you do that, you are getting notifications, because the default is personalized. In personalized, some people are getting it, some people are not getting it. I can't explain what this is. We are looking at trying to automate it in our app. We will let you know when we are able to do that. So at this point of time, you want notifications, please do that. After that, I've been consistently getting notifications from Izzy. You may also want to check and see if that bell is, if it is all, then you are getting notifications. That's all I wanted to say. Then you can go back to the next topic, which is the Ukraine-US deal. And this, what did you see?
I'm getting. I have just. I have. My bell is not at all. I have to go. I have to get all. I have done all.
Yeah. Okay. Now you will start getting it consistently. So this is what we found out. So thanks for reminding me, and I'm sure now that many of you will get notifications. Hopefully, it will also pull up some of our viewerships. So let's take a look at the deal between US and Ukraine. Over to you.
Sure. And in this line, we want to add one more thing, because look, it's very important. The crash which we had when a military helicopter went into a civil jet, commercial jet. At that point of time, Trump also made one important point. He said there are some people who have these psychiatric disabilities. They are not attuned for this high pressure job. Because of D&I, such people were let into the system. So was D&I a socio-economic kind of a remedy, or it was an engineered plan to fail? We don't know. Maybe it was engineered and used this D&I to get all kind of people into any job, and ultimately this will result into what we have been seeing. So this is what it is. So DEI was it something like that which we are seeing? I mean, what is this DEI all about? Was it engineered for the systems to fail, or was it some kind of a good social thing to have? As per Trump, it was engineered for the systems to fail. This is an important point I want to make, and then let's move to the next topic. Now, after Pentagon Shake-Up 500 deal on the table, we have been talking on PGurus of two things. Look, one was that Zelensky offered $500 billion deal to Donald Trump, and after Trump snubbed him, he offered the same deal to European Union. Now, nobody in the European Union was willing to pick up this deal because they did not want to cross the roads to Trump. Now, finally, what is happening is that the deal is going back to America. America will have the rights to extract minerals from Ukraine. Some of them are exploitable. Some of them have not been yet done. It's a mixed bag. So out of 500 billion, if you kind of put your bets on, you might be able to get a few $1 billion out of it. That is what is expected to do. But this will be good enough to finance the war, which America has been financing for Ukraine. Trump makes a few points here. First of all, he says, I don't understand why was our treasure given out far away from America to a place and a country? We don't know. What was the return on the investment for the war for us? I don't know. What guaranteed us that we'll win this war? Point number 4, it was an unwinnable war. So why did we in the first place even want to go and do it? These are some of the important questions which raises. While Trump is getting this deal, a lot of people in Ukraine are saying it's a blackmail, or Americans are blackmailing us. But I want to remind my friends in Ukraine, look, there's nothing called free lunch. I mean, if you want American money, you want American assistance, where is it going to come from? And let's not forget, there's a more than $100 billion scam in this all, because your leader Zelensky says we don't know where the half of the money is. So it's at least $100 to $150 billion scam which has happened in this process. The world's biggest scam. And yet you want Americans to be given footing the bill. That is not going to happen. So the American deal is on the cards. And now let's talk about this. Whatever the people in the opposition parties in Ukraine might think, they are entitled to their opinion, but we are not too much to kind of look into that. Oh, that's maybe seen personalized. Thank you for that. Yeah, this is a very valid point. All is important. Otherwise, the personalized you may not get. Even I was not getting at times. Now, after that, we talk about Trump, Putin Tango. Now, the biggest geopolitical news is the equation which is shaping up between Trump and Putin. Now, there's an interview of Vladimir Putin wherein he says that Trump is a good friend of mine. We don't talk much, but I would want to go and meet and talk to him. He says, what happened in Riyadh? He says there were two things happened in Riyadh. First thing is that me and Trump wanted to build the trust, because this war between Russia and Ukraine cannot stop. By the time there is not enough trust built between America and Russia. So we wanted to build the trust. That has happened. What are you achieved? look, we wanted our diplomatic missions to start. They have started. We are talking of trade. We are talking of commerce. We are talking about cooperation in space. Even with this fiasco, the International Space Center, we have Russians, we have Americans, and we are talking about the space cooperation which you announced, and talked about the representation of Zelensky. He said, look, Zelensky would be involved in the negotiation at a later point of time. And just few hours before this Putin's interview, Trump was asked, what is the role of Zelensky? He said, I had a very good meeting with on the phone with President Putin, but I don't feel at this point of time we need to get Zelensky into the picture. Maybe at a later stage, once we have finalized the broader things of the agreement and all, then we'll put Zelensky to work out those modalities and all. So this is what Trump has softened his stand with Zelensky, because after Zelensky has offered this $500 billion deal again to Trump, he has offered this deal again to Trump. He said Zelensky will be involved at a later stage. Now, there is one thing which we are finding very disturbing or very, worth highlighting, is that Trump and Putin both have the same kind of point of view on European Union. Zelensky met 𝗘𝗙𝗪𝗏 today, and he says, I'm very thankful to meeting the President 𝗘𝗙𝗪, and we have discussed a lot of issues. Prime Minister 𝗘𝗙𝗪 of United Kingdom. Out of that, one of them is that they will support us, blah, 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 all that. Now, Trump says UK and Macron have done nothing to stop this war. And even today, they are doing nothing to stop this war. So both of them are supposed to be going to White House next week, meeting Donald Trump. So Trump has accused them, you are doing nothing to stop the war, and Macron is my friend, but he has again done nothing. He doesn't have a very good equation with 𝗘𝗙𝗪𝗏. Now, here, Putin also says the same thing. Putin says, European Union has a relation with Russia, which they scuttled. They wanted to side with Ukraine. They stopped the communication and the relations with Russia, which is their call. But I find it very difficult, though Russia does not intervene in their trans-Pacific relations. That is the relations with America. We don't intervene there. But I find it very difficult that they have been abusing and accusing Trump before the elections of everything. I admit that Trump has been so nice and kind to them, and is still trying to accommodate them. Why is Trump still trying to accommodate? That is something which we have to really see. And he said, whatever is the scuffle or whatever is the hardening of relations which is happening between the European Union and the Americans, European Union is entirely responsible for that. And Trump is exactly saying the same. It is the European Union who's entirely responsible for that. And here, Trump and Putin are exactly saying the same language, only he says in Russian and he says in English. He said they are the people who are responsible for that. And it is magnanimous of Trump, it's great of Trump that he is still trying to accommodate, he's trying to still to listen to them. How can you be allies of America and you're taking all the contradictory decisions and taking all the contradictory sides? So what is wrong with European Union? That is a very important aspect of Trump. And he said, yes, I'll be looking forward to meeting Trump in the near future, and we'll be ironing out all our issues and all our differences. And we are looking at a cooperation, and we are looking at covering all the things which we had left in the Trump 1.0 and Trump 2.0. We're looking to cover that. And Russian and American cooperation will be beyond realms of imagination. This is an important point. And whatever we decide and agree, I'm going to communicate to my partners in BRICS. So whoever is my partner in BRICS is, so BRICS is also got it. I'm going to tell them what I agreed with Trump, I want to cooperate. And in the meanwhile, Zelensky, yes, he will be involved. We have never said no to talks with Ukraine. We have never said no in talks with the European Union. But you are the people who took sides. You are the people who walked out of it. And we are still open to ready and talk. So Europe is in a very typical dilemma because Trump is not biting their bait, and even Putin is not biting their bait. So if Europe leaves, if you pull America and if you pull Russia out of the European Union, so what is European Union going to do? They can't survive by doing business with China. There's a very important aspect. So the European Union leaders are in a very bit of a tough still now. That's basically what both of them seem to be having synergies. And when the synergies are developing between Putin and Trump, of course, we as Indians, we are very happy what is happening because both are friends. But the people in the People's Republic of China are very paranoid. They're very scared with these kind of equations happening. And European Union is started getting divided. Now we have to wait and watch what will be the stance of 𝗘𝗙𝗪𝗏 meeting Trump and what will be the stance of Macron meeting Trump. Remember, in the last meeting, Macron did not go for the hysteria. He said, no, hysteria is not good. Let's kind of mend our ways. We have to see how does Olaf handle this, because I am seeing Europe getting more divided on the political and economic lines than ever before, which will lead to the weakening of euro. And weakening of the euro is good news for Trump, because weakening of the euro means dollar strengthens itself more as an international currency. So Europe has literally walked into the game plan of Trump, and they don't know what they are going around with. And when Zelensky going right and left is just trying to, light more fires than what possibly the fire extinguishers can extinguish. That is one part of it. Now, after that, let's go to Israel and Hamas. There's some important developments here. Now, there were 6 people who were supposed to be freed by Hamas today. 5 were freed, I think, by afternoon India time. There's one more person. His name is 𝗟𝗡𝗙. I can't remember the full name. He's a Muslim guy. This guy was freed by Hamas just 1 or 2 hours back, not in the public glare, because this person is an Israeli Muslim, and he's in the captivity of Hamas for the last 10 years. And as a part of this deal, the Hamas might say we want to fight Jews and all that, but as a part of this deal, Israel agreed to free Palestinians. Now, what is the position today? Now, almost the first part of the deal is over with this last guy who has been, and this guy has some mental challenges. The mental faculties are not very right. He's not a normal man medically. Now, Israel just now has said we will delay the release of Palestinian prisoners. 600 of them will be exchanged for these release of the people which happened today. For 600 will be free. Now, there's a very important tango in the Middle East. Now, with all these things happening, now there was a very unfortunate incident yesterday where 2 babies were returned. Their dead bodies were returned, but the 2 babies were mutilated and it was a very barbaric death which the 2 babies of this size, very, very well literally given. This has sparked a wide range of outrage in America, and President Donald Trump has condemned it. He has said this is barbaric, this is unexpected and unacceptable in today's century, and the people who have done it are barbarians. Now, asked about what is your position on the war, and Donald Trump says something which is very sensational. He says, look, I am with Benjamin Netanyahu. If he wants to continue with the peace process, I am with it. But if he wants to break the peace process and go with war, I am with him. Because I am very sure he must be very angry. And I was very angry looking at what we had seen yesterday. Of course, the pictures are not out in the public. I was very angry looking at what has happened today. And if he is not angry, there's something wrong with him. So him being angry and fuming is right, and Israel being angry and fuming is right. I will not push him for truce any longer. I will not push him for truce any longer. If he wants to go with war, I am with him. We are going to support him all out. So the truce of Hamas and Israel is a matter of time. It will be gone. While as IDF is prepared for the final assault. In the meanwhile, there's one more development which has happened here. Trump was asked about what about your plans for Gaza? How are you going to implement them? He said, look, I have already told Jordan and Egypt to take these people. And Jordan and Egypt have rejected. He said, which I'm surprised, because we have been paying them billions of dollars every year. How can they reject me? Because I'm paying the money, is directly talking about. But if they have rejected, I have alternate plans, and we are going to reveal the plans. My plan is the best to make sure Gaza is peaceful. Gaza is a good place. And I'm surprised. Why did Israel ever leave Gaza? Now, this is one more dimension to the tale. Now, Trump is saying, why did you conceptually leave Gaza? You should have never left the Gaza. Why did you leave Gaza to Hamas? Marco Rubio and Trump are and Netanyahu on one point they converge. Hamas cannot be operational again in Gaza. There's no way it can happen. So whatever is the cost and implication of it, that will be met. He says, why did Israel leave the Gaza? He said, Gaza is like a good real estate deal which has gone bad because you let nefarious elements to live and work there. And after they live and work there, the things are going to go back. Now, last episode we talked about, there's a plan which Egypt had proposed. Egypt had proposed a plan, okay, this 3-phase plan which we discussed in the last episode. Now, I told you there was a meeting of the Arab League. The Arab League has come up with a plan, which was an informal meet in Riyadh. Again, those 2 points are still contemplated. I think I am right. Marco Rubio asked MBS to call everybody and get their thought processes aligned. Now, the Arab League has a plan. Arab League is kind of proposing, if you are not comfortable with Hamas controlling things and all, So let's have a plan. What is the plan? The plan is, let the Palestinian Authority control Gaza. If we can dismantle Hamas, we can stop them politically, and they can even abandon Gaza. Let the people of Gaza live in Gaza, but let Palestinian Authority control Gaza. To which Israel has point blankly said no. And in all probability, Trump is also going to say no to that plan. Say, we are not going to let Palestinian Authority rule Gaza. This is unacceptable, because there's not a lot of difference between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority ruling, because the Palestinian Authority always really has a problem with Islamic Jihad and all. Even some of the captives of current this war with Israel were kept in West Bank. So Israel doesn't trust them. Now, interesting thing is, how does this pan out? But in my opinion, there is an imminent question of that the war is going to happen any point of time. Trump says, I have secured my minerals. I've secured my minerals so that my independence on my war is being kind of funding. He's ready to go on a war with he's ready to go on a war in Middle East. What Trump wants in return is Gaza, because if he gets Gaza, that will be the amount of money to fund all the expenses of the war, and Israel is all out for it. So Trump is very unhappy with Jordan and Egypt, how they have reacted, but he says, look, I have a plan, and I have one more plan in mind, which I'm not going to share with you. And Trump has taken the ball to the next level. He says, why did you leave Gaza in the first place? That was a mistake. You should have not done. And he said, it's a mistake what like Americans did. We left Panama Canal. That was a mistake. We should have never left the Panama Canal. So if we would have not left the Panama Canal, that was a mistake. If British would have not left the Hong Kong, that was a mistake today. So there are a lot of mistakes which have happened in the world. Says the time has come to undo them. So with the changes in the military, look, with the changes in the military, with the changes in the DNI, with the changes in the FBI, and now rising the ante on the Panama Canal, talking about Israel would have never left Gaza, and talking about that whatever Benjamin Netanyahu decides, I am with you. If you want to go with the war, please go with the war. My truce is gone. Now you will ask me the question, what happens to the hostages? That's the question in your mind. Look, 252 hostages, around 77 are believed to be alive. 24 have been exchanged, broadly speaking. I might get a number here and there. Now, we are talking broadly around 50 hostages. Trump says the condition of those hostages is pretty bad. I'm quoting Donald Trump. It's pretty bad, and we don't know what shape they are in. We don't even know, they might be medically alive, but practically not alive. And he says, when it comes to some bigger good, some tough decisions need to be taken. I'm quoting Trump, some rough decisions need to be quoted. So in a way, I think Netanyahu and Trump are converging. You cannot free all the hostages. That is what Netanyahu has been saying. So whichever all the hostages which have been freed are freed. And yesterday, what has really upset the apple cart is when the mutilated bodies of the babies were got, and they were in a pretty bad shape. They were, their organs were, I don't want to describe that, but whatever. It's pretty bad, barbaric shape. And they were, this big babies. So after that, Trump has said, no, we are dealing with the barbarians. We have to eliminate and destroy them. So the Middle East is on the boil again. And Trump wants a base in Gaza. That has to be a given now. And Trump is preparing America for the war. It is revamping the American, military, American assets and everywhere. So this is the biggest ever revamp which is being done in America. And people in China are not very happy with it. People in Iran are not very happy with it. And Iran is watching the situation carefully. China is watching the situation carefully. There are two things which are happening broadly before I conclude this, because I have 2 minutes left and Sree sir has told me to conclude on time. There are two things which are broadly happening today in America. Look, Indians, especially Hindus, I will not mince my words. Indians, especially Hindus, are getting more and more positions of power. Let it 𝗟𝗡𝗙 𝗥𝗘𝗥𝗡, Kash Patel. Now we are also talking of a Asian envoy, Mr. Kapoor. A lot of other people have taken eminent positions in the Trump administration. That means that Hindus are not only loyal, they can be also trusted, and they can be also patriotic, and they can hold their values very high. So difference between a Janambhumi and Karambhumi, we very well understand that, and we are able to manage through that. Other set of people which have come into the picture are people who are against China. Marco Rubio and all set of it. Another set of people which have come in the Trump administration are the people who are against this Islamic hegemony. So you have pro-India, pro-Hindu, anti-China and anti-Islamic hegemony. This is the broad three category of people which has filled the Trump administration. So if you broadly look at a 360-degree level, if I do a helicopter view, I think the missions are quite clear, the things are laid. There is no pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu now officially by Trump for a truce. There is no pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to hang on to the truce. So he's saying, you go all out and destroy them all, I'm with you. And the message to the Arabs is very clear, you have to fall in line. So we'll wait and see how do the things shape up. But to me, by tomorrow this time, we might be debating about how did the truce fire end and how did the ceasefire end. It's a matter of time. It is going to end up soon. So these are the 3-4 major things which are going to come up. And let's go to questions because I'm strictly sticking to the clock this time.
Thank you so much. And now let's take some questions, please. Thank you, 𝗤𝗽𝗲𝗍𝗏𝗻 for your super sticker. Thank you, Peter, for your super sticker. Thank you, 𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗏 for your super sticker. Thank you, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗙𝗿. Money for conversion in India is impacted with DOGE. I don't know if he's asking it as a question or a observation. Question.
It will be because all this money which was coming into India, even if you look today, it was, I think, fourth time President Trump has mentioned this 21 million going to India. Fourth time. He's clearly telling you, look, money was sent there and it's for us, that is as Indians or Bharatias, to find out where did the money go, where all did the money go, who want this money. He's clearly indicating you this was sent for there. And Sree sir, there were $29 million sent to a company in Bangladesh. Company has 2 people on indirectly, total. 2 log ki company, $29 million. Chacha Bhatija company, $29 million was sent to Bangladesh.
These people have an established template, Sumit, and that template they'll just put into play. Once the money comes into somebody, on his name the money would have come in. He's actually the one who's going to be prosecuted too. But he doesn't have control over the money. Somebody else will take it and run. The whole thing has a very well-oiled nexus because they have done it again and again, country after country. It's not a one place. Don't think that India is unique. They have done this thing in many, many countries. Over to, yeah, next one. Vaibhav, thank you so much. Do you think Trump is giving Ukraine to Putin as bribes so Putin should support Greenland and Gaza to US?
I think, Vaibhavji, this I have been talking I told you there's a deal between Trump and Putin in Middle East. And if it's good you brought up this question. I must thank you for that. If you look at the interview of Trump, wherein he said, we have agreements and we have business in Middle East. Putin has today mentioned that they have interest and business in Middle East. He mentioned Syria. Putin mentioned like Syria. He didn't say what business. He mentioned Syria. So I told you that there was a deal that Russians will walk out of Syria. In the return of that, they will get Assad. They will cut Iran's game, and if they let them go in Syria, they will give them concessions in Ukraine. I told you around 2-3 months back when it happened.
Right. We had predicted it exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Putin mentioned Syria. He mentioned Syria today. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is the deals are not only limited to Russia, Middle East. Because if Russia moves out, look, China cannot do much. Iran cannot do much in Middle East. It was very important for Russia to move out. So the deal is Ukraine. And of course, Gaza, they will not intervene. This is a part of Middle East. And of course, they won't want Chinese to dominate the Arctic Sea route. So that is why even in the Greenland, Putin is not going to interfere. Putin is more comfortable, I think, looking at his current interview with Trump than Xi Jinping. That is what the things are. This is a big geopolitical shift.
Very true. Karthik wants to know, sir, can you think of making a stand for Sengol? It will look good on the wall. If it's a nice stand, can be thought of. We are ready to pay. We have been working on designs. You see here, this is a stand, and the thing will freely stand inside that. And you can't see the whole picture. If you can can you show the bottom? Yeah. See the bottom? Can you zoom in a little bit, please? Yeah. See, what happens is, I'll show you. This is the bottom. Okay, it's a circle. See the thing? There's a circle. It's a bottom, it's a circle. So what happens is you have to have a cavity in which this will go and rest. And that is one way to make sure that it is stable. Go back to the picture, please. Yeah. But if you look at it, the tube has a little bit more space. So vertically, you can keep it stable by keeping it in the cavity, but there still has a movement possible. So we have figured out something to do it. We're going to release this thing very soon. Stay tuned. We have been seized of this problem. See, all these things, right? Once you start adding more complexity to it, then it drives up the cost because you have to produce it right. This is the best thing we could think of because A, it will not gather dust. B, it will be on your desk. It will be for everyone to see. See, if you hang it on a wall, unless people come to that wall, they won't be able to see it. But this, you can put it on your desk, like the way people put flag, right? So that's the idea, because this is exactly like that. It is like you need to rule justly. That is the whole idea here. Next one, please. But thanks for asking the question. Govinda Guru wants to know, will Bhutan become a part of India, 29th state of India? Any plans?
Right now, no plans, sir, but in the long run, we can't wish away this as a possibility. There is a possibility. There is a blunder which Nehru did when Nepal wanted to be a part of India. We chose not to let them be a part of India. And I think under Modi ji, we can't expect such things to happen. Push comes to shove. For the good of both the countries and both the civilizations and Hindu and Buddhist, let that be the answer.
There are some things happening as far as Bhutan are concerned. Can't say if I can reveal that or not, but just wait. That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah.
Wait kijiye.
Yeah. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskar, shouldn't the GOI introduce DOGE in Bharat also? Expected a white paper on past spending of the GOI and its impact. Shouldn't the BJP do that?
I think, sir, if you look at the DOGE, the main purpose is not to cut the cost. The main purpose is it's a surgical team. When I'm looking deep into it, it's a surgical team which is doing those amputations and taking out those chunks of meat and flesh out where they think the tumors have spread. If it's a cost-cutting thing, you will have those financial analysts and those CFAs doing it, those economists doing it. Here, it's a very targeted approach. They're picking and choosing things. It's that, that's surgeon's vision. It's not that economists excel. It's the surgeon's knife here, what I see, rather than economist spreadsheet. So there's a difference. Though Democrats are saying that it's for them the jobs are like numbers on the spreadsheet. It's not that. Then there'll be those blanket measures. Okay, everybody's salary cut by 10%. You can still achieve the results, right? But they're not doing that. They are not doing that. So it's not the economist's approach. It's not an accountant's approach. It's a surgeon's knife. Scan, cut, aage chalo. That's what they're doing.
Thank you, 𝗥𝗘𝗏𝗂𝘁, for becoming YouTube member. Thank you, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏𝗂𝘁. Is Government of India taking advantage of Trump 2.0 and all pending issues, domestic foreign enemies be addressed, or still waiting for even better weather?
I think the Government of India has got into the gear. If you look at, I think 2 days back or yesterday, there was a raid in Canada. Not in Canada, in Punjab. I think somewhere around Mohali, where ED took a suo motu cognizance. There were some people who had done a money heist or a gold heist in Canada, and they were hiding in Bharat. So suddenly ED got into action and started cracking down on them, though the Canada never asked us. But I believe the money was being sent for anti-India activities and all. Now, with the green light coming up from there, and even today, Minister of Home Affairs has declared we'll be going out after and along with the MEA and finding who got this $21 million in India. So there are things which are happening, but they might take a little bit of time to get steam. But the things have started. That is what I can tell you.
See, all these things happen through Pakistan, viewers. These guys the country has completely collapsed. Law and order has completely collapsed. They can bring anything through Karachi into India. They'll just sneak it through the border. It could be Rajasthan, it could be Gujarat, or it could be Punjab. They bring it in, and that's what the whole thing is going on right now. So one of the India, instead of breaking up Pakistan, just go and capture Karachi. Ek shahar.
Ek port, one port.
One port. Just capture Karachi. That's it. That's it. And you can stay in the waters. You don't have to go into the land. You can stay in the waters. It will be a totally different concept, I'm telling you. Next one, please.
I have been always suggesting BLA and Taliban and everybody in Pakistan go and capture Karachi. This is precisely the region.
Just capture Karachi. Done. Done and dusted. Shankar VK wants to know, Sumit-ji, will Trump bring in Modi-ji to spearhead the peace deal in Ukraine or in Gaza, or should Modi-ji position India as a peace driver going forward? India has no role right now, I don't think.
No, koi role nahi, sir. We should be using this opportunity to clean our mess. Like we have given an ultimatum in Manipur, 7 days to keep down your arms, otherwise face the music. This is what we should do. We should start state after state after state. We have a lot of mess within India which has accumulated, and because of this USAID and deep state and all, a lot of activities we are not able to carry on. Now the time is there for us to carry on these activities. And I'm telling you one thing: we have to take a position on China very soon. Americans are going to push us to take a position on China, because they have fundamentally changed their position on China, where they are saying that we are kindly for the independence of Taiwan. So they will expect us to state our position. It's a matter of time. We have to go through that.
True. Srinivas Wellercard wants to know, India should also get ready to teach these Bangladesh jihadis a good lesson.
I won't agree to that. I'm not saying a good lesson, permanent lesson, permanent solution. Good kuch nahi hota, sir. Permanent. No good. Permanent. I agree. I respect your statement, but the light side of it.
SN Khan wants to know, now that ESG DEA scam is blown up in US, will Indian companies follow suit and work saner?
No, we should, because I don't think DEI is such a problem in India right now, but we should. Look, wokeism had crept, was slowly creeping into our society. And the sarcastic humor and dirty humor, and where we were challenging our values and all, like this 𝗟𝗏𝗿𝗏𝗍𝗲 and all, the fiasco which is going on. And incidentally, he hired Chandrachud sir's son, and the Chief Justice Sanjeev Khanna did not listen to him in the first case. And he was arguing yesterday, how come what Nupur Sharma said is more atrocious than this? I mean, I don't know where do they get these comparisons. But again, this kind of thought process was slowly getting engineered into our society. After the kind of fiasco we have seen with 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗏𝗏 and that Samairan and others, I think the winds of change are blowing, and I compliment Justice Sanjeev Khanna sir for not, kind of coming under pressure, because you got your ex-Chief Justice son as your lawyer. There's a little bit of pressure they were trying to exert and all that, but he dismissed everything of his, I think Ashish Chandrachud is the name of the lawyer. He kind of rubbished all his arguments. They don't stand ground. So I think if we want, we can still set the house in order. This wokeism and these kind of mindsets and these kind of perverted minded people, if they are not given space in the public, you can control a lot of menace.
Next one, please. Pankaj Bhasin wants to know, can you please discuss Pakistan leaning on UK as it's not getting any lift from USA?
So, it is like a banyan tree leaning on a banana tree. What will happen to both? Both will come under its own. What is UK? UK is still struggling. What can UK do? UK is getting, UK is getting people like Zelensky and Pakistan. So if they want to become the next China, it's their funeral. Let them go ahead and become the next China of the world or next Iran of the world. If UK wants to be the Iran of the Europe, be my guest. That's what will end up.
Yeah. Cosmic Reason wants to know, sir, do you foresee a rise in white supremacy specifically targeted against Indians?
No, because after the elevation of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Mr. Kapoor will be nominated as an envoy to Asia and all. So Trump is sending a very clear message. The American dream lives. The American, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 even said today, I am the first Indian American, right? He took oath on Bhagavad Gita.
There have been only 9 directors of FBI, Sumit-ji, just 9.
9.
He's the 9th one.
And the appointment is for 10 years. You can usually even extend it after that. So, Trump is giving a message. It's not white man, it is the loyalty. Loyalty is what will matter. Not in the name of DEI, you get a Pakistani, you get an Afghani, you get all kind and type of people and make it a United Colors of Benetton. That is not what it should be. It should be based on the loyalty, skin color, and doesn't matter. And that's what 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Patel said today. The American dream lives with me. Such an important post given to a non-white person or a brown-colored person, for that, for the sake of argument, for the lack of better words, means a lot. I mean, let's look into it. Right? It's not white supremacy; it is loyalty to America. Don't tell me there's no other person than 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 or 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. There will be, But giving them is also sending a message. That's what I talked to you about in my India monologue. Next, please.
Hans wants to know, in my view, all the recent plane crash are sabotage. I mean, these planes were remotely controlled by third party. Any comment, sir?
I think, sir, the people who were at the helm of the affairs, what Donald Trump said, I'm quoting him, I'm not an aviation expert. He said that most of the people are incompetent. They're not capable of handling that job. And after that Black Hawk went into the commercial jet, a lot of people have been fired from the ATC and other departments. And they're doing the problem with the Trump is there's so much of, so much of intrusion which has intruded the system. Literally you have to revamp the whole system at times. I'll give you an example. If you have a cupboard at your home, you get that termite, what we call in Hindi 𝗖𝗚𝗏, this patch of it. You get a carpenter, what will he say? Saab, pura badalna padega. He will not say change this patch because the 𝗖𝗏𝗏 is so dangerous. If you change this patch, even if one of it leaves, it will dismantle others. He say, saab pura badalna padega. And that is what Trump has to do. He is just going and changing the surgical blade approach. Cut the whole chunk off.
Viewers, before we go to the next question, viewers, do watch. There is a new Netflix series that dropped yesterday in United States. I don't know when it will be released in India. It's called Zero, the number 0 Day, DAY. Do watch that one. It talks about something similar to what we are talking about here. Very, very good show. Next one. Martik wants to know, when India is going to remove Pappu, the Italian citizen, from the parliament. India doesn't allow dual citizenship.
Well, there are some people even with 3 passports in India, and he's not only one. It's a matter of time. Just wait and watch. There might be more names which will crop up. I think we must now get cracking, because we may not have this time again. There's a window to act, and we must get this acting. And honestly, sir, there's not only one in discussion. There are a lot of other people in the discussion who seem to be towing the same line.
Naresh Neelakantan wants to know, do you think China Air Force also have the equivalent of Sukhoi 57/75 checkmate? Your view, sir?
I don't think they have Sukhoi 57, to best of my knowledge, or 75. They don't have anything. They have demonstrated a prototype of a 6th generation fighter, but we highlighted all the flaws in the design and the engine and all what we could. And now I think everybody is talking about what we have been talking earlier, and the views are quite matching what we have been talking about. Though we are not the avionics experts for any chance, but generally what we could see and feel, we have put our things in the front. Look, even for a prototype to become a reality and to become a successful thing, it takes years and years and years. If a F-22 Raptor, which was considered to be one of the best in the world, that had to be shelved to do whatever reasons, commercial viability, whatever. So even, for a platform to be successful, viable, and economically prudent, and to be a best war horse, there are various stages of evolution which it has to pass through. So it's not a straightforward game for anybody. It's not only having or naming a platform. It's also how well you can use it. But what I'm really happy is that the Trump, with every passing day, is trying to squeeze China more and more and more, and trying to get his house in order. I'm happy to see bonhomie developing between Putin and Trump, because we never wanted that conflict in the world, because that will have straightway led to China's dominance in the international affairs. Happy to see that. As Bharat, we are happy because both our friends, both the friends are getting pally. It's a good news for us. The people who are unhappy with are Iran and China only. And as I told you from the very beginning, there are 2 targets of Trump: Iran and China. First Iran, then China. So they have to be tackled. And then, of course, Islamic terror and this jihad and all, the people who believe in this mentality have to be tackled. And even for Middle East, they have to this time really tune up. Middle East can't be playing the same old games and, running with the hares and hunting with the hounds. That can't work. They have to really, really tune up, and they have to either live in the world of the 21st century and go 1400 years back in time. That's the call they will take. And with desert around, it won't take you a lot of time. Swear to God, it's very easy.
That brings us to a close of today's program. Thank you so much, 𝗚𝗎𝗍. Viewers will be back again in an hour's time with 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 𝗍𝗔 as we look at India's domestic politics. Thank you once again, 𝗚𝗎𝗍. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. in Hindi.
Sure. Tomorrow ending at 10 a.m. in Hindi. A lot of revelations about China. Don't miss the endgame China. I'm very sure you must have sorted out your notification issue. I also clicked at the all, so I should be also getting all the notifications. On that note, we respect your support and patronage as always. Love and respects. Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram. Har 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 Mahadev.
Mahadev.